Hello, everyone. I am Solomon, and I've devoted my life to studying the science of life. This year, I turned 75. That number feels significant. I have a dear friend, Ruth. We are the same age. Last year, she had knee surgery. The surgery went well, but in the recovery room, she called me. Solomon, I've fixed my knee now, but what part will break next? That made me laugh. But it's not really funny, is it? We grew up believing that at this age, once one thing is fixed, something else breaks. We thought that was simply natural. But is it really? For most of my life, I believed that too. Aging seemed like a law of nature, and death unavoidable. But a few years ago, serious conversations began in the global scientific community. At first, I dismissed them. I thought, this won't happen in my lifetime. Yet the more I studied, the more I realized this was no longer science fiction. Some of the smartest people in the world are now chasing one goal: ending aging. Today, I want to tell you about two men connected to this idea. One is Ray Kurzweil, a technical director at Google. The other is Jose Cordero, a futurist who wrote the book, The Death of Death. Both men point to a specific year. By 2045, they say death may become a matter of choice. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? I thought so too. But think about it. By 2045, I'll be 94. So will Ruth. Somehow, that thought excites me. So today, let's listen to this story together. Don't turn this off because it sounds impossible. By the end, you may want to call a close friend. Before we begin, let me clarify one thing. Today's story is not simply about living longer. It's not about reaching 100 or 120. It's about stopping aging itself. There's a difference. Living longer stretches time. Stopping aging means the body no longer declines. Our generation grew up believing the body wears out like a machine. But scientists now ask, what if repair happens faster than damage? Then, theoretically, the body may no longer grow old. That idea is the key to today's story. First, let me introduce Ray Kurzweil. He's an unusual person. From childhood, he was called a genius. Before 20, he already held a computer patent. Later, he developed text-to-speech and speech recognition technologies. Today, he leads artificial intelligence development at Google and received the National Medal of Technology from the President of the United States. But there's another reason he became famous. He's known for predictions. In the 1990s, he predicted explosive internet growth, computers defeating world chess champions, and mobile phones becoming handheld computers. Today, those things feel obvious, but back then, almost nobody believed him. Yet many of his predictions came true. People say about 86% proved accurate. Now, Kurzweil says this: between 2029 and 2032, humanity will reach a critical point called longevity escape velocity, or LEV. A difficult term, right? Let me explain simply. Right now, science advances every year. Human life expectancy keeps increasing. A few decades ago, the average life expectancy in the United States was around 70 years. Today, it's close to 80. Kurzweil says a moment will come when scientific progress outpaces the speed at which we age. Today, when 1 year passes, our body ages 1 year. But if science can extend life by 1 year and 2 months in that same time, death keeps moving farther away. Imagine running toward a finish line that moves away faster than you can run. You never reach it. Kurzweil believes this turning point could arrive between 2029 and 2032. That's only a few years away. Then comes 2030. Kurzweil predicts another revolution: nanobots. Have you heard of them? The word nano means 1/1,000,000th of a meter, about 100,000th, the thickness of a strand of hair. Scientists are trying to create tiny robots that can move through our blood vessels. At first, it sounded like science fiction, but early-stage research already exists, including nanoparticle cancer treatments now in clinical trials. Kurzweil imagines tiny machines moving through the bloodstream, repairing cells, detecting cancer early, and restoring aging cells to a younger state. An invisible doctor working inside us 24 hours a day. A world where you don't constantly need hospitals, because repairs happen from within. Kurzweil says this process could begin around 2030. Then comes 2045, and what he calls the technological singularity. This idea is more difficult, but the core is simple. Artificial intelligence will eventually surpass human intelligence completely. From there, AI will create even smarter AI, which will create something smarter still. Technology will begin advancing at unimaginable speed. Medicine would transform as well. AI could analyze in a day what doctors study for decades. In that world, aging may be treated as a disease rather than fate. Kurzweil also talks about another idea: digital consciousness. The memories, thoughts, experiences, and emotions we accumulate through life could someday be digitally preserved. Even if bodies are repaired, accidents can still happen. But if consciousness could be stored digitally, perhaps it could move into a new body or digital space. Maybe it sounds absurd, but if someone had told us decades ago that we would carry devices in our pockets and video, call people around the world, we would have laughed at that too. Now let's meet José Cordero. He is a Venezuelan-born futurist of Spanish descent who studied at MIT and Harvard. Today, he travels the world speaking about the end of death. Do you remember the title of his book? Probably not. It's called The Death of Death. Death itself dies. Cordero speaks even more directly than Kurzweil. He says, aging is a disease. That statement matters because until now, humanity has treated aging as an unavoidable natural process. Wrinkles, weak bones, and fading memories all seemed normal. But Cordero argues aging is a biological process. Cells become damaged, telomeres shorten, DNA accumulates errors. And if it is a process, then in principle, it can be treated. Diabetes was once fatal until insulin was discovered. Tuberculosis killed millions before antibiotics. Cordero says aging may follow the same path. The problem, he says, is technology, and he believes that technology may mature around 2045. He identifies 3 key technologies. First, artificial intelligence. AI is already diagnosing cancers with remarkable accuracy and analyzing enormous numbers of drug combinations to find optimal treatments. Second, genetic engineering. Have you heard of CRISPR? Some people call it gene scissors. It allows scientists to edit DNA almost like editing a document. Faulty genes can be repaired. Genes connected to aging may someday be switched off, while protective genes are strengthened. This technology won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2020. Third, nanotechnology. The same nanobots Kurzweil talks about. Cordero believes the combination of AI, genetic engineering, and nanotechnology could fundamentally transform aging. Now let me speak honestly. When I first encountered these ideas, I doubted them. Even now, I'm not completely certain. Scientists remain divided. Some say these predictions are far too optimistic. Others argue that even if the technology develops, applying it broadly to medicine may take much longer. There are ethical questions too. If humans greatly extend life, who gets access? Only the wealthy? Only certain countries? And what happens to resources and the environment? We don't have answers yet. So I'm not telling you this future will definitely happen. I simply want you to know these conversations are happening seriously around the world, and our generation deserves to join that conversation. Now let me leave you with a practical thought. Whether 2045 arrives or not, what can we do today? Perhaps science is giving us a chance to hold on long, enough to reach the next breakthrough. Kurzweil himself lives this way. He carefully manages his diet, exercises consistently, and takes many nutritional supplements. Why? Because he wants to survive long enough to reach the next stage of technology. He has a phrase for this: cross the bridge. Today's health habits are the first bridge. Future medical advances are the next. By crossing one bridge after another, perhaps we reach that future. It may not be too late for our generation. Maybe we are the first generation, standing between two worlds. The old world, where death was unavoidable, and a future world where death could become a choice. So let me summarize. Ray Kurzweil predicts that between 2029 and 2032, science may outpace aging itself. Around 2030, nanobots could begin repairing cells inside the body. And by 2045, AI may transform medicine beyond imagination. Jose Cordero says aging is a disease. And when AI, genetic engineering, and nanotechnology converge, death may no longer be humanity's unavoidable fate. Does it still sound absurd? That's all right. Smartphones sounded absurd once too. Today, I shared this story with Ruth. Do you know what she said? Solomon. Then I feel cheated for having knee surgery twice. We laughed for a long time, but behind that laughter, we both felt something. Maybe this story is not just a dream, and maybe we might live long enough to touch its edge. So call a close friend today and say, I heard something fascinating today. You should hear it too. Perhaps that conversation will help both of you live with a little more hope. So stay healthy today, stay curious, and keep looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you.